right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Disruptor Discussions Masterclass Season 2. And man, we are pretty far into Season 2 at this point. I'm so excited. I feel like we started a minute ago, but I think this is like our 7th or 8th episode. So this is awesome. Crazy excited. I'll use my Boston wicked excited to tell you guys about Ron in a minute here. But first, I'll give you a little background. I started Appreciated Asset, my consulting firm, 7 years ago. And, our mission at Appreciated Asset is to create a ripple effect for our clients and helping them grow their businesses through our efforts. Our purpose is to create a stage to highlight industry disruptors and helping them expand their audience, again, through our efforts, and really honor them for their courage in standing outside of status quo. As being a disruptor, while it can be a bit of a trendy title, you really have to live it in every area of your business if you want to be known that way. And this masterclass was developed because it marries both our mission and our purpose. Our mission is to increase revenue, and we're here to show you with new guests every single week as to how you can grow that revenue through different areas of expertise. Because here's the thing, you guys, I've been a business owner now for 7 years, and what I've finally come to realize is that there are 0 problems in a business that cannot be solved with more revenue. More revenue helps get more team. More revenue helps get better systems. More revenue helps get upgraded tech. More revenue helps you sleep at night. I mean, let's just call it for what it is, right? And it helps us expand our impact and expand the ways we can help people who maybe can't afford our services. Because we have enough revenue, we can then give back in that way as well. So there's all kinds of ways, but more revenue is the answer for for any business problem. And because of that, we help our clients create more revenue, but there are so many other experts like my friend Ron here, who's going to tell you today, that also create more revenue for their clients through their expertise. Every week, we're going to highlight different disruptors and different trailblazers that are showing you guys how to do exactly that with some really unique strategies. The whole disruptor thing I'll mention, as a kid, I was always innovating. And I think that's what a disruptor is. It's an innovator, it's a visionary, it's someone who sees status quo and is like, not good enough. Or doesn't even see status quo because that doesn't even make sense anymore, right? We disrupt, the lead generation industry because we do things in a very different way, but we didn't do it to be controversial or to be disruptive. We did it because it made sense to deliver in the way we do. And the fact that no one else is doing it, well, I think that's kind of cool. But also the way it's received when people learn about the way we do things differently, they're a lot more tuned in and interested because they see how different it is from anything else in the space. All right. Every single week, I share with you guys what's new in the business, and we talk about a disruptor hack. So what's new? Well, I'll just tell you guys, we are experiencing quite the storm in Charleston, South Carolina today. So kids are home from school. That all came through late last night with those announcements. That's what's new here, is juggling parenting and working and hosting master classes and doing all of those things and trying to do them seamlessly. But I'm going to tell you this, and this is really less of a disruptor hack. It's just something for us to all consider. When the school canceled last night, the beautiful thing now in this post-pandemic world is that we all work remotely, or a lot of us do, right? And what I've really learned is how much that allows us to create flexibility in our days when things like this happen at 8 o'clock at night. I mean, I have a full day booked today, but there really wasn't a whole lot that we needed to pivot on because of that. So I guess my thought for the day is just, creating ways when things don't go as planned It doesn't mean the whole day has to be scrapped. You can figure out ways to work around. And I like to be really upfront with people when I'm talking. I call with someone in England a couple hours ago, and I just said, "Look, kids are home because that's what's going on today." And I think the more we can show that vulnerability and show that, again, I think COVID was such an amazing way to propel this into being acceptable, that we can be working parents and we can be professionals. You don't have to compartmentalize and do one or the other. So I just encourage you all to kind of find what that balance looks like for you in your lives. I am so excited to introduce you guys to Ron today. I've been looking forward to this since we booked this, so I'm gonna read his bio. Before I do, I'll let you guys know we are gonna do a hot seat today. So this is a new thing that we're doing in season 2, which has been really well received. We are offering, if anyone would like to get in the hot seat and do some live coaching or live feedback with Ron, let us know. You can DM us. Again, any questions that can go into the chat as well, and we'll get to that. And rather than doing a presentation today, Ron and I decided to do kind of a little back and forth, because we're kind of like a vaudeville act, the two of us, when we get going. So Joey, feel free to jump in when we need to be reeled in. But also because I think that this is worthy of a conversation. We're going to be talking about sales and sales disruption, and what do people say they want versus what do they really want? And I think this is worthy of a bit of a back and forth. So it's going to work a little differently today. Okay. Ron Ben Joseph is a highly accomplished Broadway-trained performance, executive presence, and media coach dedicated to helping individuals harness their unique strengths and amplify their message and presence on the grand stage. With an impressive track record spanning over 20 years, Ron has worked with a diverse range of clients, including entrepreneurs, C-suite leaders, nonprofit teams, and consultants. I will tell you guys some background. Ron and I met through a networking group several years ago and just instantly hit it off. We are both pretty bold and pretty outspoken, twisted sense of humors. It all worked and fit beautifully. So I'm so excited to have you here to share with us. And, Ron, let's start with your title. Okay. Mm-hmm. So your title is Everyone Wants to Be Sold To, which that's a pretty disruptive title. So why don't we start with, why don't you tell me what that means?
100%. Thank you so much for having me here too. I adore you, so this is like a huge honor. So a few months ago, I was invited to participate and be interviewed on this live call for a group that I had never been to or been involved with, and it was through a LinkedIn connection. She's like, "Can you come in and I'll interview you?" And right before me, she interviewed. So it was like there were two of us that were being interviewed that day for this group, and there was like a good attendance and everything. It was cool, but I was kind of being a brat in my head. I was like I was tired. I was not in the mood to do it. You know how you get? It's like I'm like ugh, and I'm looking at the people that signed up, and I'm like, these are great businesses, but like I don't think I can help any of them, and blah blah blah. So I was hemming and hawing, and I'm not normally this much of a jerk. I was just in a bad mood that day. Okay.
I mean, debatable.
I mean, I can be jerky. But so I Jennifer. But I got on this call, and then the woman that went before me, she did like a really good kind of like marketing 101 presentation, and people were asking her questions. And then one woman said, like, this is so to the presenter, she goes, "This is so great that you're talking about this, and that, because nobody wants to be sold to." And something in my head just clicked, and I was like, bullshit. Like that, I was like, she said it with such authority, and to me, it was such poverty consciousness, and it was such a limiting belief, and it was such like scarcity mindset that she said nobody wants to be sold to. And I'm like, when it was my turn, I go, "I'm sorry, like forget everything I was going to talk about. We need to talk about that comment." And I have a Post-it note on my desk here now since that day where it says, "Everyone wants to be sold to." Because I equate it to two things. People tell me all the time, and at that time, like right around that time, it was so loud in my ear, I had to listen to it. I had a bunch of people who at that time would go on sales calls with me, and then they would either post about it the next day on LinkedIn. It was like like within a span of a couple weeks, they would say, "Just met with Ram and Joseph. He sold the hell out of me, and it was amazing. Like he gave me so much value. He already just in one call gave me so much help, and blah blah blah."
Yeah.
Right? And so I was like, and I always say to people when I get excited, if I meet them, if I'm not excited, it's like the conversation ends very quick, and I'm like, I have a 10-12, I have to go. Nobody has a 10-12, but like I have a 10-12. If I get excited about you, I'm like, oh my gosh, ready? I'm so sorry. I always say, and I mean it sincerely. I'm like, hide your credit card right now. Can I sell you? Can I sell you hard? And they're like, yes, please. And so, and then I go, okay, here's what I would love to do. Here's like, I can't control it. Here's what I'd love to do for you. Here's how I'd love to do it. And here's how you'd make more money at the end of it. And they go, thank you. That sounds amazing. Yeah, let's do this. Or I don't have the money right now. Okay. Like if they don't have the money, then I'm like, okay, well, let's come up with another plan then. Cool, right? But to me, everyone, if you have a solution for people, if you have something so clear that helps them right now with what they need, they're like, please sell me, sell me. Like I need that.
Yeah.
The last thing I equate it to is, and then I'll shut up, is that I go, I live in Superior, Colorado, where we had the Marshall Fire a few years ago, and then one of my best friends is in LA, where they had their fires recently, right? And I go, heaven forbid there's a fire, and you're driving around with like a bunch of water, and you stop at the person's house, and you're like, yo, I can put that fire out, but it's just for me to take out the hose and do it this way and that way, it's gonna be $2,000. Like I just want to make sure that's okay. They're gonna be like, fuck, yes, yes, like now, right? If you can put out the fire, they're happy for you to sell them. That's why I say everyone wants to be sold to. Everyone wants to.
Yeah.
That's my story.
So I say something similar, but we use different words, right? So what I say to people, I'm like, look, if you know that you have a service that can help people, it's your responsibility to reach out and let them know. It's your responsibility to stop that car and say, I have water, right? I might steal that, Ron. I'll give you credit the first 2 times.
I love you so much.
So that might be, but I say the same thing. The other thing I think is really interesting about what you said, we use different language, but the energy is the same, right? You say everyone wants to be sold to. I am more of like, well, everyone wants to be educated, right? Like, let's educate people. Don't sell anyone anything, just educate them. Honestly, the words are interchangeable, and the words at this point are kind of just marketing or whatever resonates for someone. But at the end of the day, the energy is the same. If you have a solution that someone needs, you have to tell them how you would be able to help them. You have to.
See, and you nailed it just now. I think even the way you use the word sell, it sounds like I think the word has been vilified. Like
Yeah.
sell, it's such a bad word, sell, because it typically implies being spoken to at or being attacked or being no, you're gonna buy no, like car salesy, like aggressive. I'm
Yes.
not listening to you. I'm gonna just pitch at you, right? And I think that comes from, and I was telling you a little bit about this before, like, when we look at sales coaching of any kind, right? We always start with the offer. That's where you have to start, right? And
Mhm,
so I was like, when I was doing this work, I was like, I want to look at the definition of offer.
mhm.
And it's like so funny. I realized where like, I was like, oh, I get where like where sell has become an ugly word. So first of all, it's to present for acceptance or rejection, right? So when we think sell, it's to present, or selling an offer, pitching an offer is, I'm presenting this for a yes or a no. It's like asking someone out, right? It can go either way. But like if they say no, then you're not as good looking, and you're not as successful, and you're not as awesome as you might have thought you were. Like that's not true, but like that's how it feels, right? Like
That's their perception, and it really is none of your business. I love that
exactly.
core agreements, right? Like someone else's opinion of you is not your business.
It's not your business.
If you
But
can
right,
separate.
right? And when we present something as a opportunity for rejection or acceptance, it's like you're like saying like you're like, here's my value, please tell me what you think, right? So I don't like that. Then the other one is my favorite, um, to present solemnly as an act of worship or devotion, offering like your firstborn, offering your sheep, right, for slaughter. So we're that's indoctrinated in our brains, this idea that offers like, please, Lord, please, I don't mean to get religious, but I'm just like, please, higher power, take this from me, right? And I'm like, well, that's why we have, I think a lot of us have this energy around selling, offering. It feels reductive, it feels less than. And
Yeah.
instead, I was like, the definition that I like, this is from dictionary.com. So that's how much
Oh,
intensive
thank you.
research I did. I go,
Great tips.
it's to make a show of intention to do something. I was like, to make a show of intention. My intention is I have to play. I have to create with you. I have to create more revenue for you because that's exciting to me. I have to help you tell you a better story because I hate being sold. I hate being sold to by amateurs.
Yeah.
Like when you walk into a store and they're like, "Can I help you find anything?" I fucking found the store. Like what? Like how?
See, but again, this is perception because I have to tell you something. I like that and I prefer it to when you walk into a store and are ignored. So it's also, in the way it's received. I want to talk about offers
Mhm.
because you mentioned that, and I think that that is something we were talking about before we went live here about what an offer is. And there's a lot of common misconceptions about that as well,
Mhm.
correct?
Correct.
So tell me about that.
Yeah, so that's so again, offering when it's presented for acceptance or rejection or solemn devotion, right? It puts you at a less than position. I like the idea that it's a show of intention. And I'm a show guy, I have a theater background. So I'm like, show. And as a performance coach, right? I'm like, I think that if it's a presentation of an intention, that becomes something so pure and exciting. If you love what you do and if you love helping people, then it's not an offer. It's an opportunity, right? Like, oh my gosh, here's how we could play together. And then you make it up on the fly. And I have a system of how to make things up on a
Yeah,
fly.
that's what I wanted to
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of dig into that because you seem like you've really kind of nailed that down.
Mhm.
So what does that look like?
Great question. So at the core of that, we use a narrative arc, a narrative structure, where if you ask them, like even yesterday, I have people every week when I work with them, they're like, okay, well, how do I convert this story or this narrative into a networking event, like, or an elevator pitch, or just how do I introduce this as a sales conversation?
Right.
And I always say, inevitably, I go, if you get them talking about their conflict, the thing they want, and then you talk to them further about the thing that's standing in the way of them getting that thing, and then you're able to see a path to getting them the thing, I'm like, it's done. It's over. So getting someone asking the questions, not like, so what's bugging you? What's wrong? Right? We know in
What's
relationships,
your pain?
what's your pain points? Yeah, no. I always say, like, what are you excited about this year? Or like, or I'll ask them, what are they working on? Like, what are the biggest things you want to do this year? Right? Like, what's the goal for this year? Whatever it is, like positive that you're excited about. Inevitably, they'll go, I want to make 7 figures. And you're like, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. Like, that's awesome. Okay, cool. And then inevitably, their mindset will kick in, or their limiting beliefs, or just something will kick in. And they'll go, but I don't know. I mean, ah, I didn't do so well so far this year. So, okay, tell me more about that. Like, what does that mean you didn't do well? Right?
Mhm.
Like what did you want to do more of? So to me, it's always, what do you want to see more of this year
Yeah.
with a positive bent? And then they'll tell you that inevitably everyone loves to talk about themselves, right? So inevitably, and I don't mean this manipulatively in a manipulative way, but they'll start telling you that, once you build that rapport and create that comfortable space, and make it about them, if you genuinely care. If you don't, walk away. Don't waste your time. Right? But if you genuinely care about this person and what they're working on, create that space where they can feel free to be like, okay, well, here's what I really want, but I just feel like, I don't know, I don't know yet how to connect with the right people. I don't know yet how to say it in such a way that someone gets it instantly. I'm really good when I'm working one-on-one, but talking about it is really hard for me. Right? Whatever that these are the things that I hear about consistently every week. How do I talk about this thing that I do so well? Or my favorite is, and it's understandable, is I work with a lot of coaches, therapists, consultants. So for them, when they're in the moment, they're able to respond, but to initiate a conversation, to initiate a sales call, to initiate a prospecting call, that's so foreign to them because they have nothing, they don't feel they have an invitation or an
Right.
opportunity to share, right?
Yes.
So a lot of what we do is initiation. So like how do they create the space so that they can respond? It's like
Yeah.
human design stuff, like how do you create the invitation, right? And so finding like creating that space, that bond, that relationship where the person feels free, that's when you go, oh, once that puts you in that zone of genius and that zone of like, oh, I know how to do this. And then the more you're asking them, what do you want? What's standing in the way of you getting it? Then you kind of in the back of your mind walk yourself through how you would plug them into your template of fixing things or
Right.
solving problems. So that's how they do it on the fly. But you always ask information first. When I was a young theater director in Chicago, this was like almost 30 years ago now. Um, I I figured this out. I had no connections. I barely graduated high school and I was in college, but I was like, all right, I'm 19. I'm like, I'm done with this thing. I have to be a big famous director now. This has to happen or my dad will judge me for the rest of my life.
Right.
I had issues. So I started cold calling. I had no choice but to start cold calling theaters all over the country. And then eventually I was like, someone told me you have to get an internship. And I was like, what's that? And they were like, they explained it to me. So I was like, okay, that's a great place to start. So then the next day I made a list. I had like a, a list of theaters and I called every theater in the book and I said, and I saw who the producer or the boss was. And I'm like, hey, can I come in and talk to you about how you found your voice artistically as a director?
Yeah.
That I don't know who taught me to say that, but that was better than, hi, can you please help me?
Right.
It was, hi, can I talk to you about you?
Yeah.
You
You're giving the value. Yeah. I think it's so important. We do that a lot with our clients when we're talking about, creating messaging that's compelling. We all hear about like what's in it for me, right? The with them. But the thing is, at the end of the day, you want to be really concrete. Like, I would like to do this for you. I'd like to show you this. I'd like to tell you this. I'd like to present this to you and explain this to you. And then work with me or not, but they've got that value when they walk away. And
I,
and that
yeah.
gives you instant credibility. Tell me about this. You work with a lot of speakers, right?
Mhm.
I hear often selling from the stage, and it's the goal, but there's also a lot of like stories underneath that. So, what's your theory about how to successfully create a presence that you're not selling from the stage, but that people are, after an appearance, that you create that, I guess, the invitation, right? Like, what does
Yep.
that look like for you?
Um, I just bought a pair. I shall answer your question with a story.
Okay.
I just bought a pair of jeans that I've wanted to buy for years. And like I don't know why. I always saw them and it was never the right size or I was never the right size and I finally bought them like I think it was November of last year and they just don't look good. Like regardless they're not my pair of jeans and I fell into the trap of buying the wrong pair of jeans. And it was like so indicative of the work I do because I'm like I do the exact opposite. To me selling from the stage is you're showing the audience their pair of jeans. They have to be able to see themselves in the jeans and they have to be able to fit the jeans to their specific measurements. To me, that's selling from the stage. What I mean by that is if you articulate in your speech what your audience is really going through, so to do that, you have to like come up with a unified thread of what are typical things that most people in this group that you're speaking to, right? Because like for the majority of my clients, they're not like yes, they're getting the five to $20,000 speeches, but it's not the Tony Robbins like,
Sure.
100,000, $500,000
Right.
where it's like people are stopping what they're doing and they're opting to go in, right? This is
Right.
a lot of them are, it's corporate, like it's teams that are already existing and then my clients or retreats or whatever, but so they're already going into existing group. So they have to come up with a unified thread of what the audience wants and what they're not getting, what's standing in the way of them getting it. And once they do that, they're able to, in the moment, pivot and adapt to their audience. So we build in a lot of interactive pieces where it's like, okay, like Jennifer, for example, or Sarah, when you're going through this. So they're able to tailor it. There's enough mobility there and elasticity in the speeches to tailor it to this group that they scratch the surface, but the audience is able to go, that's my pair of jeans, and that's going to look phenomenal on me, right? Because they're able to see themselves in the story. They're able to
Yeah.
see themselves in the transformation. And thereby they're like, well, I can't, okay, you gave me a little bit, but now I have to hire you. So
Yeah.
it's not gross. It's not manipulative. It's just like, yo, let me just show you how much I care about you, me, the speaker. I care about you, the audience, so much. I'm really passionate about this group of nonprofit executives or, sales teams or whatever. I'm so passionate about you. And here's how you're starting, and here's where we could end up. And
Yeah.
we always paint the blueprint of tomorrow. And they go, well, I want to buy in on that. Like I have to be a part of
Yeah.
that.
Ron, this is so aligned for the way we work also, because again, we're creating like sales scripts, right? We are
Right.
creating outreach scripts and messaging. What I talk about is creating a compelling message, which I mentioned earlier, but creating a compelling message that resonates
Mm-hmm.
for your ideal client. And I think that's what selling from the stage is saying something where someone goes, oh, I was just thinking that. I was just having that conversation. How did you know? Where someone feels so seen
Mm-hmm.
because you are able to address something that they are currently dealing with, not the pain, but
Mm-hmm.
just situational.
And aspirational, what they're
Yeah,
aspiring to, where they want
yeah,
to be. Yeah.
yeah. That you can address that. And when that resonates with someone, so it's not about being for everyone. It's about having your messaging so authentic and aligned that it will attract the right clientele towards you. For us, if someone's not into disruptors, if they think it's,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they're going to just do things the way it's always been done, and they're not going to get out of their own way, that's cool. We're not for them, and they will very happily self-select out of our world. Because with a disruptor, we're going to be able to collaborate and think outside the box and like get really, really creative. And we're going to have a partner that will problem solve with us,
Mm.
that will be open to the journey, and pivoting where we need to. So it's so aligned for the way we work. I don't know why you and I haven't had this conversation before.
But I mean, you and I have played together before, and then I remember
Yeah.
you texted me and you're like, I just made $75,000.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, the thing
Not that
is,
I'm taking credit for that, Jennifer. I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
you're on a roll. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think that's really just kind of about tuning up and
Yeah.
tuning in to make sure that what you say resonates with the people that need to be working with you.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure the people whose house is on fire hear that you've got water, right? I
Mm-hmm.
love that analogy because it's just so crystal clear. Um, I'm going to ask you my 3 questions, and then again, we will hot seat. So if someone would like to hot seat today, let us know. And if not, well, then I will be stepping up and we'll be talking about this in my business. I mean, you and I have done this before, so it'll be fun. But I hope someone else takes the opportunity because I have access to Ron whenever, and he
Right.
is just a doll. And this is such a fun. Ron is super quick at getting to the core of like what's going on. So honestly, take him up on this. Okay. First question, Ron, what's the biggest misconception about your service?
Oh, great question. I love this question. That it's just public speaking coaching.
Yeah.
Um, or just media coaching or the tangible piece. It's so funny. One of my favorite clients of all time is she runs a very successful public speaking coaching firm, an agency. She does big corporate coaching, and she's my client. Like I coach her on presentations, on videos, and all that stuff. And I've directed videos for her. But it's like she's the real deal. She does the public speaking, like she has a system and a for me, it's really about whether it's speaking, coaching, or sorry, speaking, video, media, or sales coaching. It's all about the performance, the show of intention, the authentic, organic, conversational way that you share your heart's passion, in a way that someone else can see themselves in it. So It's the thread is that we go deep. I have a lot of therapist clients, a lot, and it's one of my favorite
Yeah.
things. I could do it all day long. Therapist clients that have, funny enough, they all have a very similar story. They've all either sold or created a seven-figure therapy practice, and now they're speaking more. These clients will come to me for just literally coaching, like relationship stuff, like how do I talk to this person or that person? It's or how do I sell this new offer, this new retreat, this new program? And
Yeah.
it's so funny to me because it's like it's they just want the space. They just love the space to voice and to say what's on their hearts and and express themselves from within. So it's we go deep. There's a lot of crying that happens every week in my calls. Not by me always. I'm just kidding. um, we really open up and we go deep because that's what I had to do as an entertainer, as a performer who was not a natural performer. It took me years to tap into my voice. Directing came easy, but acting and comedy and singing and I have a comedy show that I do. The years it took me to really write for myself and understand my voice. And so that process is so internal and so personal that those are the heavy boulders that we move. So it's not just again just the tangible like speaking or whatever. It's like how do you shift your executive presence? Like, how do you show up as a leader? How do you step into your power of the person that you want to be tomorrow, but you're going to talk like it today?
Well, I think having that performance background, that theater background that you have, gives you such a unique ability to guide people in a way to command that presence. Because it is, you have to know how to hold the stage, how to hold an audience. And having that kind of experience of both on stage and off is really critical. Okay, so there's a lot of people who say they do what you do, right? Like
Mhm.
there's noise in this space, let's be honest, which is a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Competition is good. It means you've got something that, you know, you do something that is wanted, because other people want to do it also. My question for you is, we talk about disruptors, right? So why is being a disruptor so important in this space? Like, why is it so important to disrupt what is the norm and status quo for this profession?
I'm about to be such an asshole.
Do it.
Um, uh, Understandably so. There are, in my opinion, in my experience, having trained as a performer, and seeing people in the industry like that coach presentations, rightfully so. There's like systemized, methodized codification of everything and how to speak, right? And how to communicate and how to start with a hook and how to add a personal
Right.
story and blah blah blah. And everything is very like um very well manicured.
Yeah.
Funny story about that though, we're all people. And I work with high level executives, and not a single one of them would fit into that box. Like that, it's like I always say, it's like you're a rock singer and you've been cast in an opera. Like those are two very different modes of singing, two very different styles. And it's not every voice, like every voice can't do all that.
Sure.
So like you look at Pavarotti when he used to sing with like pop stars, it was different. Like it wasn't, and so the thing that I do is I help the client. So we spend the first, let's say, like 3 or 4 sessions, like four, let's say, working on my outline. I have a very simple outline, which starts with a conflict and ends with a resolution. So we talk about conflict and resolution. We talk about narrative arc. We talk about the movie Rocky a lot. Like I love Rocky. But we put together all their ideas. They just go, and I put them in my outline. Then after that, we move into them building the plane while they fly it. So then we have to figure out how do they write for their voice? So they've taken this organized outline that I've created and we kind of chuck it because like now it has to be, what do you want to say? And the ultimate goal is that they go on stage with a post-it note that says glasses, picture, and glass. And that could be a 3-hour workshop right there. And they know exactly what they're doing. So tailor making the speech for them and helping them find their authentic way of speaking. And oh my God, do you know how many millionaires I know say like and so many. They don't care. So like an or like speak this way and make sure to lift up. No, we find your authentic voice. I've been coaching for 20 years, performance, over 20 years, 25 years actually. performance. And it's like figuring out, I don't know anyone else. This is not tooting my own horn. I just don't know anyone else that coaches organic, authentic performances for the big stages the way that I've seen. Let's say it that way.
Yeah.
So that's my long answer. I'm very passionate about that. Not to be
Well, I mean,
arrogant, but
again, there's so much noise that, in order to do what you haven't done before, you're going to do something different, right?
Mhm.
And I think there's a lot of people who have had maybe not the most positive experiences before with advisors or coaches in this space. And it's really important for them to hear what else is out there, you or someone else, but like maybe there were red flags to look for, right?
Well, to that, oh, sorry to cut. I
Yeah,
said
go
something
ahead.
I'm very passionate about. So I work primarily with female entrepreneurs and executives, right? And I heard recently that an example of what I'm talking about on the other side is like Hillary Clinton when she first started running for office and things like that. She worked with a coach who told her to pitch down, basically told her to have a deeper voice and project
Mm.
more in the masculine, right? I think we're past that. I hope we're past that. Like to me, that's exactly this example of speaking in the wrong key. I was told that I have a deeper voice, which I don't. Like I had a voice teacher who was very much like, "You're a baritone." I'm not a baritone. I sing really high. Like my voice is really high. So it's like I know what it's like to try to fit into a range that is not yours. And so everyone has their own range, their own beautiful range that they could sing any day of the week with any drama, with any trauma, with any whatever, having to stay home with a kid. Or we want to find that perfect range of yours that you could sing on a cold day, on a sick day, on a whatever day, you know? So, but it's yours.
Because
You are so uniquely you and it's
yeah,
perfect. So that's it.
I love
That's
that.
my spot.
Well, I'll tell you, I personally have finally gotten past hearing my own voice. There was so long where I could not stand, and there's this whole biological reasons as to why we don't like the sound of our own voices. But it really is one of the most self-critical things that almost everybody has. And there's reasons why our voice sounds different outside of our heads and inside. Super interesting. But for me, getting past it and knowing that no matter what, I am showing up authentically and I'm not trying to sound higher or lower. You just get me. I think it's really important. And I wanted to put that out there because I forgot about that. I used to really hate the sound of my own voice. Most people do. Most people do. Um, okay, last question for this, and then we'll go over to hot seat. Uh, what's the number one thing that we can all do today with 30 minutes later in the afternoon that we can all do today with this information to create more revenue in our businesses? What's the task?
Get the people, my just immediate knee-jerk reaction is get the people that you care about, that you're passionate about supporting, have a call with them, check in on them, and just like even people that you've worked with in the past, or right,
Yeah,
like just check in and be like, how like asking where they are in terms of getting to where they want to be.
yeah,
And that's a genuine thing. That's not like you're not pulling for money. It's just a genuine thing that like it's like my CRM is my text messaging. Like if I think about something, I'm like, oh my God, how was your? I just texted today, a friend of ours actually, like a friend Allison. I was like, how was your like she took a break recently, like a respite. I'm like, how's your break? Like, how's your vacation? Like to me, it's just like gently tap into that part of you that cares about your community and cares about your clients, and
yeah,
just follow up and be like, how was did you end up moving your dad into the new home? And did you, like really care about them
yeah.
and just follow up. And to me, that goes a long distance. Like then people remember you, know, like, and trust, all that stuff.
Yeah, and it develops relationships. And you only do that with the people that you really do want to check in with. You really do want to follow up. And it's hard, right? When you're juggling parenting and working and all these things. But you're so right. Like a quick text can make all the difference in someone else's day. I'll tell you in a more professional approach what I do. And I'll do the texting because it's fast. And you know what else I love, you guys, is Voxer. Voxer is such a great way to be like, bleep, Just wanted to say, hey, loved your last post. Bye. It's such a quick way to do it in the middle and in between tasks. I really love that app for that.
And you're so right. Giving a compliment is a gift. Like I loved your like voxing someone and saying I love your post. That's worth $1 million.
Yeah. So one of the questions I'll ask, and it's well received because it's done with really good intention, is what would be, I mean, I'm a connector, right? I've built a whole business around that. But I'll say, what would be a really great introduction that I could make for you? What would be really valuable for you right now? Is it a new client? Is it a CPA? Is it a boy? Like, just tell me what would be a great introduction that I could make for you? And sometimes we're like, I can't really think of anyone, but thanks for asking. Or sometimes we're like, oh God, I would love to know who you use for whatever, pest control. It doesn't have to be anything about the business. But becoming a resource for someone and being consistent and being reliable in that way will absolutely build that relationship a lot faster. Ron, we are putting in the chat how people can reach you if they have any questions after this. Does anyone have any questions now that we can answer? Because if there aren't, again, drop them in the chat. And in the meantime, so we don't have any dead air here, let's hot seat. I don't think anyone is asked to be in the hot seat, which means you get to deal with me.
Wait, unless there's someone like Kate, Jessica, Ray, like anyone, does anyone have like a
Yeah,
thing that they like something where like they want to talk about a new offer or like something that they're rolling out that they really want to or a client that they really would love to serve? Is there like a thing that we could walk through the arc of that?
anyone? Crickets? Okay. Well, then let's do this. Um, Ron, we've done this before together,
Mhm.
and I would love to do a bit of a refresher with you. Let's talk about the offer.
Mhm.
And let's do it with the framework because I mentioned to you before, with hot seats, you guys, I always end up sharing quite a bit else behind the scenes of what we're doing at Appreciated Asset. But one of the things where we've really been expanding our business is sales trainings. I really enjoy doing them. We get great response. It's all happened organically so far. So I would love to, let's hot seat on how to expand training opportunities and what that could look like. So for me, I'm going to get myself out of the prospecting strategist here, which is very difficult for me because I've already got 1,000 ideas of how we can and should do this. But I would really love to hear from you and really kind of lean into your expertise here as to how you think that that I should explore that.
In terms of expansion?
In terms of expanding opportunities for training, specifically for training opportunities.
Okay, check this out. So I always joke, like I'm like, this is not my first language. So please, Jennifer, tell me how do you define this word? I never heard this word, training. What define the word training as if I never heard it. Like I don't like again, like what's a pizza? Well, it's dough, it's cheese, it's tomato sauce, paste, like right? Get to the
Yeah.
real ground root of
Training is a series of lessons that explains concepts to people who are unfamiliar with them. Uh, for us, more specifically, our trainings, we do a lot of sales trainings for teams that range from very new in their fields to quite seasoned that need refreshers and brush ups, maybe some fresh perspective. So we teach people how to, well, again, we have the done for you services. We do trainings where we teach people how to become hunters in their own businesses. I'd say that's kind of the best way to explain what we do for training. Is we teach people how to do what we do for themselves.
beautiful. I'm taking notes.
Okay.
So something that I think you found this word, just I'm doing this fast, like parlor trick, but like
Yeah.
a word that you found that I'm in love with is unfamiliar. So the real turning point, the real transformation here is familiarity, right? What is the risk? What is the cost? What is the issue? What is the conflict with being unfamiliar with how to hunt?
I think there's resistance for most people that we can help and get around with mindset shifts. When we started this today and we were talking about how sales is, people just have a really bad idea of what selling is. They've had bad experiences, they have bad stories in their heads, all those things. I think that's what it is that there's a lot of resistance around the way someone would approach selling themselves or for themselves.
Okay, this is huge. Oh my God, I love this so much, Jennifer. So unfamiliar, similar to everything else, right? Like the number one thing that stops people from getting what they want typically is knowing the how. Unfamiliar is really our sticking point because they are not familiar with what's on the other side of your training,
Yeah.
which is hunting in a way that, like, the word you used, resistance for most people around the way someone would approach selling themselves or for themselves. There's lack of familiarity around selling yourself or for yourself, right? What are they not familiar with? Like they're not familiar with what it feels like, what it should look like. You know what I mean? Like tell me more about that. Like,
Well, they're not familiar with maybe good experiences in doing it, right? No one likes to be rejected, but what I see a lot of people do is they've maybe had some early experiences where they had that rejection. They decided that's not for me, so I'm just going to stick with marketing, right? I'm not going to do sales. I'm just going to stick with marketing because marketing, no one's going to hang up on me. No one's going to be rude to my face. Like, true. So I just think it's interesting because um it all it takes is some really simple mindset shifts for people to think about sales, to think about hunting, to think about growing their business in ways that they haven't before. And yeah, exactly what you said in the chat. They're not familiar with good experiences doing it.
that's what you said.
Yeah.
That's so
Oh,
so
I'm brilliant.
That you're brilliant. That's what you said, right? So think about or feel into that, right? Like the I, having an emotional hook. The reason we like what the movie that just came out, I didn't see it, but like The Brutalist, it's almost 4 hours.
Mm.
People paid money to sit for 4 hours in the movie theater after years of moving away from the movie theaters, right?
Mhm.
Like where you could just go home and stream. And this movie is done pretty well, right?
And it's
So,
heavy.
and
I mean,
it's
it's a
heavy.
heavy, yeah.
And people are sitting like again, I sat through Schindler's List when I was 11. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
we
yeah.
did that back then, but now it's like it's such a foreign concept, but people still did it, right? Because there's an emotional heavy hook. So think about or feel into fam not familiar with a good experience doing it because there's rejection. They have this other experience doing it. I love this. So if we're in terms of expansion, if we're promising to reverse the risk of not feeling good, or not having a good
Right.
experience, that is a complete mindset shift. If you're coming in and you're in the conversation and in the pitch, wait,
Yeah.
what are you thinking? You're
Oh, it's just like, what if you could let someone hang up on you and it would affect you zero?
see that's so let's start listing what good experiences.
Yeah.
I keep muting myself. What good experiences could be like. So I love that. Hang up and be happy.
Yeah. I always say sales is like dating, right? Because it's just gets you one closer. Every no gets you one closer to the next yes. Um, and it is a numbers game. And so what if that experience wouldn't ruin your day? What if someone saying no to your offer didn't mean they were saying no to you? I think especially for entrepreneurs, right? We take it so personally because we care so deeply about our businesses because of what the yes means to us, that the no means the opposite. And I don't think we have to attach those meanings. And I've noticed for my business that once I detached from that everything changed in the way the energy flowed through our business as well.
And look at how the energy just flowed through you. This is like, I don't feel brilliant, but I'm like, it was so cool when we talked about good experience and
Yeah,
creating instantly in the conversation, in the sales, in the pitch, and remember a familiarity in advance,
yeah,
right? So like your whole face just changed. And I was like, oh, Jennifer, what happened there? Think about going into a conversation that way, right? Now I know with what you're talking about, I feel and I hear you. Oh, when I hire Jennifer, I'm gonna just feel better. Like I'm gonna have more certainty. I'm gonna have more confidence. I'm gonna have more room to make more calls. Like everything you just showed me, I'm like, oh, I get it now. I get what you do.
yeah.
Because
Okay.
what we're doing is we're creating a familiarity. We're closing the gap. We're closing the gap of not knowing, of uncertainty, right? The way to be more confident and present more confidence is with certitude. I have a corporate client right now who they were told that they talk too much around the point and that their face expresses negativity too much and all that. And I met with them and we instantly figured out that all it is that they're seeing the gray areas and they love the gray areas. Their boss wants black and white. So they have to communicate to their boss with more certitude, more clarity. Here's what we're doing. Here's what it's going to look like. Here's how it's going to go down, right? Thereby creating familiarity. The concept of unfamiliar causing resistance, to me, that's the hook. If you, Jennifer, are approaching it from a perspective of where are you unfamiliar right now? Like what's unfamiliar to you about a positive sales experience? And they just blah, blah, like they just vomit it all out. And then you're like picking and choosing, and you're like, okay, I love that. So we have a client where we help them do just that thing. We got them from here to there.
Okay.
Now in my mind's eye, it's becoming more familiar, even though I've never done it.
I love that. I love that question. That's really unique. I want to shift here because
Mhm.
A, we can take this
Oh
offline.
yeah.
Also, we got a comment
Yeah.
here that I want to make sure we address as we wrap things up today. So, someone in our audience had written, I also have a difficult time with rejection and would like to increase the amount of conversions I have with well-qualified prospects. I'm going to take a crack at this, Ron, and then I'm going to hand it over to you.
Yep.
So, I will tell you that well-qualified prospects, a lot of it has to do with making sure that you have a list that fits your ideal demographics. And a lot of times if you are trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, you're going to run up against more rejection than you should. So being willing to niche and release some prospects that are not well qualified, which means maybe less prospects, but more convertible opportunities is going to be important. And the thing about the rejection, here's what I will tell you. I have been told no more than anyone on this call combined. I have not died from it once. But because I've been told no as many times as I have, I mean, guaranteed, you guys, I could add it all up for all of you, and I've been told no more than anyone else here. But because of that, I've also been told yes more. Because I'm willing to put myself out there and I'm willing to detach someone's response from my value, from my worthiness. And I'm willing to create a bit of a protective shield around me for that, but also the resilience to keep going. Because I firmly believe that success is on the other side of where most people give up. Follow that, Ron. Boom.
That was so beautifully succinct and so well said. Like that was heavenly.
Mic drop.
I have so much I want to add to that. I also feel like if you know your worth and if you know your value as a service provider or as an entrepreneur, um, if I recently had a call, it was so funny. I had two sales calls back to back. One was with um like like a referral over a referral over a referral kind of thing. And we were getting into it, like I was walking through my process with her and showing her how we create a keynote and blah 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 blah. And she was like excited, and then she's like, okay, how much is it? And I told her the price, and it's not a catastrophic price right now. And she was just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I was like, what did you think it like I what I was like shocked. I'm like, what did you think it would be? Like you just got so much value. And so when she when she's like, oh, I can't do that. I was like, okay, like totally no worries. You know what I mean? Like I was like, I didn't feel like it was a rejection at all. It was something that wasn't, she didn't have the budget, or it wasn't in alignment, or she was just completely not knowledgeable of what's going on. You know what I mean? And that's no fault of her own, but I'm like, it's not a rejection. I actually literally got rejected by a woman on Monday of this week. And I mean, it was not like a bad rejection. It was like rational conversation, totally cool. And I just remember thinking like I was stung, but in the same token, I was like, what I'm selling, she doesn't need. That's all it is. I was like, she just
Yeah,
doesn't need it right now. She doesn't have the bandwidth for it, or she doesn't have the space for it. Like that doesn't mean I'm too much or not enough. I was like, so I think reframing our value and going, okay, this person cannot afford it right now. This person doesn't have the bandwidth. This isn't the right alignment for them in their lives right now. They thought it was, or they thought it wasn't, or it doesn't matter, right? And so like this notion of your value being up for debate based on if someone says yes or no, I think we
right.
need to move past that as entrepreneurs, because it's like if you love what you do and if you love helping others, that's all that matters. So to your point, go find another yes.
I love it. I
I
love it.
gained confidence from her saying she doesn't want to date. And I was like, cool. I don't want to date you
Yeah.
either.
Again, you're just attaching yourself. Like you're
Right.
valuable, you're worthy, regardless of someone else's opinion. And if that is not a good match, it's just not a good match.
Right.
That's all it
And
is.
and you don't want that not good match for 6 months to a year in a working relationship, you know?
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly. Um, okay. So next week, you guys, we've got Rashonda Pratt coming on, and she's gonna be talking about camera confident secrets revealed, which good God, do I need this, because I am someone who we've been doing this and this is now comfortable for me, but the idea of like going Facebook Live or any of those things is like the seventh circle of hell for me. So I'm really interested in learning from her. And I think it's actually going to be a great follow-up from this conversation. So Ron, please jump on there if you can next week. Um, I want to thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you, but this has been really fun. And it's really, the way we did it today was really different from the way I do a lot of these. And I've enjoyed that so much because we're so aligned.
Yeah.
We attack things very differently with different areas of expertise, but the goal is the same. It's creating authenticity in messaging, right?
Yeah.
It's creating things, not what you think other people want to hear, but that the right people need to hear.
So
And I
well said.
just
Yeah.
thank you so much, you guys. Ron's information is in the chat if you would like to meet with him. He is an absolute gem of a human, and I cannot wait for our next 101, my friend. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And I hope you have the very best day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jennifer. Thanks for your time.